We have yet to see any bold predictions from the pundits ahead of the last Old Firm game of the season between Celtic and Rangers. That is, of course, until now, as former Celtic player Simon Donelly believes Rangers can't compete with Celtic on Saturday. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. There's some pundits edging towards Rangers, there's some edging towards Celtic. Everyone seems to think it will be a close game, though. Everyone thinks it could be won by one goal, or it could go either way. Although Simon Donelly, he doesn't see it that way. He thinks that Celtic are going to be too good for Rangers, especially after the way he's seen them play against Hearts. He thinks that Rangers will not have what it takes to compete with the boys and keep themselves in the title fight. So Simon Donelly was talking about the Celtic performance on Super Scoreboard. He addressed how Kyogo was looking the best that he's been in a long time. He thinks the midfield are playing the best they have all season. We're beginning to see O'Reilly, Hatate and McGregor all link up. I can't disagree that in the Hearts game, the midfield trio was great and Kyogo did look phenomenal. We know that Kyogo's great. We know that he probably is overall the best attacking player in Scotland. Albeit this season he hasn't really had the goals, he hasn't really had the performances either, but I think at his best, I'd say Kyogo is at a higher level than anyone else in the league, and we did see that on Saturday against Hearts. But anyway, Simon Donelly addressed this, and he says, quote, Kyogo looks back to his usual self. He took the goals really well. The first one, sharp inside the box. The second one's a fantastic one because he has to concentrate on it coming out of the air for so long, and he takes it first time. He looks to be, as I say, back to his sharp best. Does that coincide with the likes of Hatate coming back into the team? Celtic are looking more like their strongest 11, possibly. But certainly, the way they popped the ball around, especially when it got to 2-0, there was a lot of confidence or energy there. And I think another performance like that at the weekend is enough for Celtic. I don't see Rangers being able to compete with that. End of quote. So Simon Donelly going as far as saying he doesn't think Rangers can compete with the performance that Celtic put in against Hearts. Now, that game wasn't as one-sided as it's been made out to be. Celtic were good, no one's denying that. It might be Celtic's best performance domestically of the season. Now, Celtic have had bigger wins, of course. They had a 7-1 thumping of Dundee, but I remember watching that game. Dundee were awful. Dundee, out of those 7 goals, at least 4 of them, maybe even 5, I think, were preventable. Honestly, Dundee just, for some reason, shafted there. They folded in that game, and they just allowed Celtic to score a bunch of goals. And that's not really what happened. Even though I think Hearts probably could have defended a little bit better, I thought they still overall played a pretty decent game, and Celtic had to work hard for the win. And they did work hard, no doubt about that, but 20 minutes in, Hearts could have easily been in front. If you look at the first 10 minutes, Hearts had 2 really good chances. So the first one came like 52 seconds in, and there was a deflection just causing the ball to go out for a corner, and then we had a Joe Hart save from Cameron Devlin. Hearts also got through in the second half where they had a great opportunity. I'm not going to call it a sitter, but Oda definitely should have scored it. So, I mean, there were chances for Hearts in that game, but Hearts, I thought, played well. Despite that, they still lost by 3-0. So, you can definitely argue that was Celtic's best performance of the season. But still, Hearts could have had 2-3 goals in that game. So, I don't necessarily look at that performance and think that Celtic are somehow unbeatable now, or Celtic cannot lose to Rangers if they play the way they played against Hearts. At the end of the day, first goal, it wasn't fluky, but you could argue that maybe Sander Clark could have done a little bit better. Second goal, the defending for Hearts wasn't great, and the third goal was a penalty. So yeah, Celtic did play well, but I don't think they played as well as it's been made out to be. And on another day, I mean, if Hearts did get the first goal, and if they didn't defend the second goal so badly, then who knows what could have happened. If you look at the defence and you look at Sander Clark, I do think Hearts could have prevented one of the goals, especially the second one. Maybe the first one was just good timing from Kyogo, his reaction, possibly. But yeah, no, I thought Celtic played well. I don't think they played well enough to suggest that if they repeat that performance, so there's nothing Rangers can do. I don't really see that. I think Simon Donnelly's got that wrong. It was a good performance, no doubt about it, but it wasn't a performance that, in my opinion, makes Celtic unbeatable come Saturday if they replicate it. I just don't see it that way, but Simon Donnelly does, and that's probably the most boldest prediction we've seen so far, saying that if Celtic perform the way they do against Hearts, then Rangers cannot compete with that. But we'll see. Will Celtic perform that way? It's going to be tough because I do think it was a good performance, and we haven't really seen many good back-to-back performances for Celtic this season. So yeah, it's going to depend on what they do on Saturday. But yeah, Simon Donnelly going for a Celtic win here, a clear Celtic win, a dominant Celtic win. I still think right now I edge it towards Celtic, but I wouldn't bet big money on it. I mean, one goal could decide it. It could go either way. It could be a penalty decision. Could be VAR. It might not come down to who's the better team on Saturday. It could come down to who's the luckier team, or which team benefits from a decision, or which team gets the most penalties. It really could come down to anything. I don't necessarily think it's a matter of Celtic replicating the Hearts performance and then they're guaranteed a win. I don't see that at all, but that's what Simon Donnelly sees. Doesn't matter anyway. He's a shite pundit on Scoreboard. He's easily the worst pundit, hands down, on that show. So maybe his predictions are going to be pretty shite as well, guys. Anyway, that's it. I'll catch you in the next one. Been Fog Football. Till next time. Peace.